All right, everyone, and welcome back to the 2-3 Zone. Tony'sPicks.com's YouTube channel's previews of WNBA action with my co host, Ron Crawford. I'm Ramon Scott, and well, we saved up some games after our holiday there, Ron. We got a 5 pack of games tonight in the WNBA, so some fun for us to look forward to. And maybe get some of your takeaways over the weekend. There was some big news today out of the league with superstar Caitlin Clark. A little bit of a quad strain, not a major injury, but probably will miss about 2 weeks, 4 games or so with this team right now. And you catch that, and what else caught your eye?
I did, and good job for you and Solo hanging in there. I was doing my vacation time this weekend in Tennessee, so glad to be back here. And great job yesterday or the day before. Yeah, I look at this. This is a tough blow for the Fever. There was such a roll. But again, we talked about Saturday. We got that money line. We talked about that and that for that game. But it's just they are making strides. They're going to be a great team. Lexi Hall was big too on Saturday, and I think she steps up here. She gets some more playing time, obviously, with her and Kelsey Mitchell. So I think the Fever are okay. It's tough to fill Caitlin's shoes, but I think the Fever are going to be okay.
And they'll have a standalone game tomorrow
Yep.
against the Mystics on the road. So should be an easier game, but Mystics haven't looked too bad. We'll talk about that one at another time. All right, well, we've got 5 games to go
And
over.
shame on me for not taking Seattle at home, as I preached the whole year. Wow, the Aces just Seattle at home. We talk about it. Seattle on the road, we don't want anything to do with them. But at home, yes, definitely. And they're coming up on this show, so hey, you know where I'm going.
I hope you weren't taking your vacation with your winnings so far over at the
Yeah,
site, but we'll cover your success here at the end of the segment.
yeah.
All right.
Thanks to the Mystics for hooking me yesterday. I did have the Mystics, and my best bet was the Sparks. They just Chicago, and we'll talk about them tonight. But Chicago just man, they just don't have it, man. They just don't have it.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, let's cover these here right now. And an interesting matchup, not a great matchup here, but certainly interested to see this one with Golden State Valkyries on the road taking on the New York Liberty. We understand a 15-point favorite here, pretty sizable spread. Probably the most notable move of all the spreads here was at a day off. The line's been out a little bit. Was a move to the total on the under here. It opened as high as 169 down to 164, but we'll call it 165. It looks like right now. Actually, the sites are a little bit of discrepancy here between these two. Ron, Golden State does come in 2-1 here. The 2-1 against the spread, consecutive wins over Washington and LA. For the Liberty, they're 3-0, 2-1 against the spread. Of course, they didn't cover against Indiana in that 90-88 win, but they did cover against Vegas and against Chicago. Liberty 3-0 to the over. Golden State 0-3 to the under. Ron, what do you have?
Yeah, you're gonna be shocked on this one. I only got this at 11, so I'm gonna look at the Valkyries plus the points. The thing about New York last year, they were not good at home as double-digit favorites. 4-9 against the spread at home, double digits. So hold your nose, take the Valkyries at least to cover here. I know they don't win, but
I'm
we're
gonna put
gonna
you on
take
the
the
spot
Valkyries again.
though, Ron. Is it uh, Valkyries maybe a better than we're expecting, or more of an overlooked situation here with your number and the way you feel about it?
Well, they're damn sure better in Chicago. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, because
You
and
caught our segment
maybe
with
the
Solo.
Sun, maybe the Sun as well. I don't know. They're in the bottom tier, obviously, but still, you look at New York. Coming off that big win, that was huge emotional win. New York just owned Gamebridge House this week with the Knicks going in there and winning last night, and then the Liberty going in and beating the Fever, but. I think it's too many points. I think they take a little rest and made Valkyries squeak in that back door.
Well, you convinced me. I moved. You probably saw my segment with Solo. Then I kind of ranked the teams there, and I put
Yep.
Golden State ahead of Connecticut. You know what? I'll ask you about it when we get down to Atlanta and
Sure.
Phoenix. How about that? Because those are the ones right now in the middle that you can kind of mix up. I think everybody's kind of solid with the top teams and the bottom teams right
And
now.
wait till Copper gets back. Wow.
Good
I tell
point.
you, Phoenix playing this good right now. Yeah.
All right, you're taking a Golden State here. I better make a pick myself. Look, I'm kind of curious. You know me and the line movement. I see that big line move going under here. I'm going to follow that move. I like that move. Mention the dichotomy of New York, all those unders. We know the Liberty. I mean, they can put up a big number, but gotta impress. Golden State with that 2-1 record and 3 unders, and we were kind of laughing at them at first in that game against the Sparks because their offensive output, but man, they really do have kind of a good chemistry out there, good mojo. Maybe it feels like. I don't know if that's going to help for a cover, but I'll go under in this one with Golden State and the
Yeah, let me
Liberty.
go 91.79. I think that's the number we're looking at, something
Oh,
like that. So yeah.
okay. That's going to make it a little bit dicey there, but all right, I'll still take the under here in that one with Golden State and the Liberty, and Ron's on the Valkyries. All right, hey, this one's going to be
Leaning.
all right. Gotcha. Hey, get your take on this one. It's good
Yep.
here. Dallas and Connecticut. So you got Becker's returns to Connecticut. And, well, look, they're not going to turn on their son, but the way it's going right now for Connecticut, you got two 0-4 teams here coming in. At least there's some intrigue with these two. Both teams 1-3. Dallas is off that 8-point loss at Indiana. They were getting 7, but they didn't get the money. They did cover on the road at Minnesota. Ironically, Connecticut's only cover was also on the road at Minnesota. They were both teams were getting double digits. Connecticut was getting a little bit more, I believe, in that one, about 15 or 16. And Connecticut's off that 24-point loss at Atlanta. Both teams 1-3 against the spread, obviously, and also both teams 1-3 to the under.
Yeah, Paige back in Connecticut stores there. Which played at UConn. I tell you, I think this is a sun spot, though. I think this is probably one to get. I don't like Dallas on the road. I know Paige is going to probably go off here back at home, but I just look at the Wings and I don't like them on the road. I know they covered at Minnesota, but the thing is, and we'll get to Minnesota in a minute. Minnesota was laying double digits. We don't want Minnesota laying double digits. Guarantee that at home ever. They are a great team, but they kind of play down to the lesser competition. I've noticed that about the about the Lynx. So I'm gonna look at the Sun in this one, and I think this might be a great spot for the Sun.
All right, I mentioned both teams 1-3 to the under. I'm going to go to the under here. Both of Dallas's road games did go under. Now Connecticut's one over did come obviously at home, but I still have two teams that are probably in the bottom, 3 or 4 in scoring here. Bottom, obviously, they're the bottom period with 0-4 records coming in. One of these teams will walk out of here with a win. I'm going to take a shot and say that this is a lower scoring game here at 160. Dallas 5.5 in that one, and the total 160. Okay. Let's continue on here now with a pretty good matchup for sure. We're not laying double digits here with hot Seattle coming in to play Minnesota. Minnesota 6.5-point favorite at home, a 156. Seattle's won 3 straight over Dallas, over Phoenix, and yes, over Las Vegas. They crushed Las Vegas in Lloyd's return to Seattle by 20 points. Ron, you don't need an excuse. Seattle is looking pretty good here right now, no doubt. For Minnesota, they are 0-2 at home against the spread. Obviously, they're 4-0 overall. Seattle 3-1, but Minnesota, you mentioned it, the double-digit wins, but they didn't cover against Connecticut and against Dallas. Both teams are 1-3 to the under, although Seattle is 1-0 to the over as a dog, and they're getting the points here.
Yeah, I think they crush them. I don't like Seattle on the road. We talked about it all season long so far. And this is a great spread right here for Minnesota to just hammer down, being 0-2 at home against the spread. Now coming back, they were 21-6 last year ATS. Let's get them. Let's take the Lynx, and I think they make a big statement, especially after Seattle's big win.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I think Minnesota here, their defense right now, you mentioned it. Yeah, Seattle has that home road dichotomy. I'm trusting you there for sure. I think it's apparent too, dating back even to last season. But man, Ron, right now, I know you've caught it. Unders are hitting pretty much big time here right now in the league. I'm not going under. I'm not blanketing these
Yeah,
unders.
this one's like 156, right? You don't want to
It
go.
is, but I'm going. I got to go under here in this matchup
Yeah,
with these
I can see
two.
it.
I've got a bit of a slugfest here. I'm impressed by Seattle here. If they can transcend a little bit on the road, pick up some. Look, this is tougher than others. We know. I think everyone kind of has Minnesota right there with the Liberty, of course, near the top. So I'm going to end up here and on another under with Seattle and Minnesota. All right. Now we're going to get into these last few, and I just kind of maybe get your take because Solo and I were kind of tug of war there a little bit with Atlanta and Phoenix, and it's so interesting with those two teams, which one kind of is better because kind of right next to each other in the middle, and of course the personnel of both teams. But you do have Chicago coming in here too. Phoenix at or 3-1 here. I might have mixed up the order a little bit. These are both late games. Sorry about that, brother.
That's right.
Phoenix 3-1 coming in 2-2 against the spread, 2-1 against the spread at home. I should note Chicago we know is 0-3. If any, we've got some great storylines here about some real positive things. Chicago's kind of a big storyline right now for the wrong reasons with their 0-3 record, 0-3 spread record. I don't think I can say they're improving just because they lost by 35 at Indiana, lost by 25 to the Liberty, and lost by 13 to LA. Of course, LA is not with those top two teams. So Chicago 2-1 to the over so far. Phoenix 1-3 to the under. The Mercury did hold on for that win. You mentioned over Washington. They also have wins over Seattle and LA.
Yeah, they sure did. And you look at man, I think the surprise of the year is the Phoenix Mercury. Of everything they lost, Griner goes away, Sophie goes away, Diana, she's retired, and Clea Copper's on the shelf right now. I mean, where is all this coming from this year? But Chicago, man, Chicago's a disaster, bro. I don't know what to do with Chicago. It's actually a Chicago spot in my book, but man, I don't trust them. I do not trust them at all. Like 7 plus 7. I guess we'll take a shot with the sky. I don't know. Honestly, it's a Chicago spot for me, but I don't trust them. But I'll lean to Chicago plus a 7.
Well, they better score on these Phoenix Mercury here in this one. I would think that might be the only way they can keep up here in this one. I think Phoenix could put up a bit of a number offensively on them right now. Unfortunately, it feels like, and you don't want to say, the way a team's attitude is, but you look back at last year a little bit, you look at some of the frustrations right now, and when this team falls behind, looks like they're giving up. That's unfortunate, especially for spread bettors. So I'm going to go over here. I don't know if that says that I'm maybe going against you a little bit, but I'm going to go over in this one at 155 here.
They had me sweating last night. I tell you, I had the Sparks as my best bet, but man, I was sweating there. I was like, man, they're going to come here within that number, get down to 7, 6. I was like, whoa. And then back up to 12, 13. So we were good, but man, it was scary. And the Phoenix, and the Sparks are probably, matched up pretty evenly there, as we saw in their first meeting. I don't know. Like I said, might be a Chicago play. You never know.
Okay, well, I kind of complained about me going on those unders, but I'm going to take this one over right now. So far this season in the WNBA, 16 unders, 9 overs to keep score at home. All right. I'll take the over, though, in that one. All right, last one here now with the Atlanta Dream coming in to take on the LA Sparks. Sparks, I don't know if it's a disappointing 2-3. Maybe they still felt overrated to me. I don't want to move them up that quick because, just because Plum's kind of running a great show right now, I don't know if the group around is really performing that well. There are some good players performing here right now, but Atlanta coming in 3-2 against the spread as well. They were short 3 starters in that last win. Of course, I'm counting Jordan Canada in there with her extended, and now Brittany Griner probably going to be questionable or out of this game, right? You tell me. And my favorite, Tina Pau also with that eye injury. So Sparks here 1-2 against the spread at home. They did snap that 3-game skid with that win over the Sky. Both teams are 2-3 to the under, but Atlanta 2-0 to the over here, I think, on the road so far. So what's going on with this one, Ron?
Yeah, and again, I guess this goes into our rankings, but again, with a couple of people out, and Jordan's been out, so I'm not worried about her. But there's just no size without Cameron Brink. in that LA lineup. You know what I'm saying? That just I don't, with Hamby there, and I I think still they can probably eat them up inside, and I think they're probably favored for a reason here. I have Atlanta over in my rankings. I have Atlanta over LA. So I'd take money line Atlanta in this one.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and move again to Ron's got you on the sides. I'll take you on the totals here, and I'm going to go over in this one. I think on the road. You mentioned it, Atlanta. Yeah, no Griner, so maybe that does neutralize the size advantage a little bit here. But I'm going to take the over in this one. Atlanta maybe a little bit weaker defensively on the road than people are maybe not giving them credit for here at this point. So look, LA, they maybe a little bit inconsistent right now, but they could also be trying to get the chemistry together a little bit. I'll go over 165. Ron did say money line there, even though Atlanta, we know, favored by 2.5. Do you want to take a stab, Ron, at those middle teams before we get out of here? Or maybe even, I don't know if you have anything different with those top.
I can give you my rankings if you
Yeah,
want.
but where does Indiana? And let's just assume, let's go generally with Clark in there.
I'm going to say with the healthy Cruz, this is how I'm going to probably rank them in my book. I would probably look at number one is definitely the Liberty, and it's pretty much there's a gap 1 to 2. At number two, I'm gonna go with the Fever, and I think if they're completely healthy and with the coaching that Stephanie has, I think they're there. And then right now, I'm looking at Minnesota at number three, and then the Aces at 4. This is where it gets kind of tricky right here. I would go Atlanta, Phoenix. I just don't like Seattle on the road. Otherwise, that the middle tier, Atlanta, Phoenix, Seattle, I think that's pretty much jumbled right there. And I'm gonna throw Phoenix at the back end until Copper comes back, and then of course the bottom tier are your Sun and your your Valkyries and your Sky. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
I think the 4 through 8 is pretty much you can look any way it goes there, except for Minnesota. They're probably top tier of that group. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I love the Lynx, but I haven't seen that fire mentality yet, and maybe we'll see it against Seattle tomorrow night, because I really think that the Lynx come to play in big time. Everybody's going to get the Lynx up there in the 1, 2, and 3, and I'll probably have them by the end of the season. But right now, if I had a healthy Caitlin Clark and I got Minnesota going into Gamebridge, I think Indiana beats them. I really do. I do. And the Aces are just, man, I mean, they're beating up the weaker teams, but they're scary right now. Maybe it's just a matter of getting Jill Lloyd more touches in there. And when Cameron Brink comes back, you have to throw the Sparks in the middle tiers there as well. But yeah, I think it's a strong, Liberty number one. And then I like the Fever. I do like the Fever, and they're probably going to meet each other down the road, obviously, again.
I guess for me with the Sparks, looking at it from my favorites perspective, is that last season was such a drop down and such a disappointment. I find it hard to believe that they can rise so much quicker with this roster. But yeah, we want to see Brink finally get back into action, and it just feels like Plum's holding so much of the load with this team with the scoring, and that's really not necessarily doesn't feel like it's to be her job, but nonetheless, she's carried them to
That's what
those.
I'm seeing too. I think they're relying on Plum too much right now, so we'll see what happens.
All right, thank you. Great job, Ron, and thank you for
Absolutely.
reviewing these 5 games with us here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Of course, Ron has been cleaning up there, and we're going to give him a pass on the bad beat stories or the bad weak performances there. A couple L's here because you've been hot over at Tony'sPicks.com. I'm sure you'll be firing away on this card for sure. The rest of the sports this week over at Tony's.
Absolutely. I got that package still up for sale for the year. It takes you all the way through the NBA Finals in September, October timeframe. So get that right now, and you'll see my videos. I'm doing the KBO rundown, and I'm doing also a spreadsheet play of the day. It's pretty much what 3-1 now, so we're looking pretty good on that spreadsheet play of the day. But yeah, you can check me out and all the other cappers out at Tony's Picks, and make sure you use that code 20T at checkout and pair us up. Me and Ramon have been hitting it, and too bad soccer's going away because we were killing it. So we're gonna we'll be back in September with soccer, though, definitely.
I'll be hitting this card for sure in a 5-game card here for Tuesday in the WNBA. Check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. I've been on a pretty good roll also in the NBA and NHL, Major League Baseball as well, trying to keep up with this guy over here, Ron Crawford of Tony'sPicks.com. So, yeah, use that promo code TonyT at checkout to get our premium picks. Check out the handicapper leaderboards and see how we've been doing in our favorite here, the WNBA, and those other sports, and get signed up. All right, that's going to do it for the 2-3 zone. Back tomorrow with a solo game we talked about, and we'll join Ron then. For Ron Crawford, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.